What's up, gamers? Welcome back to Infinite Dice. You're here with me, Infinite D, and today we're going to go over the Bone Splitter list for this tournament and kind of a Bone Splitter review. So without further ado, let's jump right on in. Jumping right in, these are the Bonesplitterz, otherwise known as the Savage Orcs. What are these guys all about? Well, they are naked, crazed orcs filled with Wa, the raw power of Wa and the feral spirit of the hunt. They gather together and paint themselves with tattoos and war and hunt big monsters. In this new AOS lore, they're bringing out a lot more. These Bonesplitterz are all about hunting big monsters. And if you kind of notice, we're going through the Games Workshop webpage of all the units that are available, and there are no big monsters. There's no big centerpieces, big lords on dragon, or anything like that. In fact, the entire army is essentially just two kits, and by kits I mean boxes. The foot soldiers, which are make these Savage Orc More Boys, these Savage Orcs, and the Arrow Boys, the 3 units of foot soldiers, and then the unit of Boar Boys that make the Savage Boar Boys and the Savage Boar Boy Maniacs. And then other than that, we have our Maniac Weird Knob and the Wargog Prophet, Savage Orc Big Boss, a couple of heroes, just 4 heroes, and the War Dog, which I wish was better because I have about 3 of these models. And we'll jump over here and take a look at our list that we are running. So as we talked about, there's only really 2 kits and 4 heroes to this entire book. They made this entire battle tome out of just a few models, which is kind of inspiring that we'll get sub-factions for everything all the way down. Now, what did the Bonesplitterz get in terms of this battle tome? Well, quite a bit. First, let's go over our allegiance, the Bone Splitter allegiance. When every model in this army has the Bone Splitter keyword, they get the battle traits of War Paint and Monster Hunter. War Paint gives you a 6-up ward save. Fantastic, always a great thing to have. By ward save is kind of an old terminology that I use, that they use in 8th and 7th and back, but basically it means you can't take the save away. Mortal wounds, spell damage, cannonball to the face, a high rend. Nothing can take that save away. So you will always have a 1/6 chance of saving your guy. What else do they get? The Monster Hunter, that's kind of yawn. It allows you to roll on a table when you pile into monsters. Special ability, you can get a 6-inch pile in, reroll failed wounds against monsters, or a wound of a 6+ against a monster equals additional wounds. And again, that's random, and you have to roll for it and remember it. Kind of a hassle, nice little touch, but you get Monster Hunter and War Paint. So let's jump right on in to our Savage Orc Big Boss. This is the old picture. This is not a Savage Orc War Boss anymore. It's a Big Boss. This guy's our hero. This guy's our leader. This guy's our general. He is going to lead the forces. Sexy 6 wounds. We'll take it. That 6-up classic save. Just that one boss Cleava. 5 attacks, 3s, 3s. You can see I kind of love to draw in my books. Hope you guys are okay with it. I couldn't use the picture off the website or the war scroll off the website because they don't have the right one up yet. They have the old one out of the Destruction book. Our command ability here is fantastic and kind of what I'm using in my army build. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but as you see the highlighted, whenever you make a roll of a 6 or more for models in the unit that you pick, they get an extra attack using the same weapon. And then also he has Let Me At Him, which is when he piles in, after he piles in, he can choose another unit to pile in, which is also fantastic. And without further ado, let's his command trait. So back to our list, our Savage Big Boss command trait. I picked the Squirmy War Paint, giving him a 4+ ward save, or changing his 6-up ward save to a 4-up ward save. So what else? What other options do I have? I have this list of options here. And what are some other options in that? We can reroll failed battle shock test. If the general kills a monster, they can attack again. On a 6+ to wound, the hit at a -3 rend. A 10-inch bubble for Bonesplitterz, giving them a +1 to charge. Or you get to choose on the Monster Hunter results that we talked about earlier. That's their battle trait. So instead of rolling a dice and taking one of those 3, you get to choose. Out of that list of abilities, I think the 4-up ward save is a pretty classic, obvious choice. None of the other ones were really speaking to me too much. But let's talk about Lucky Bone, the rerolls to 1. And yes, I will go through magic items, because what this book also got was a fat list of magic items. Everything after the first General's Handbook started coming out with all sorts of magic items. Artifacts of Power. So nice. Big old list there. And then we also have the ones that you can take for the walk. Sure, I'll go over all of them. Why not? So I took the Lucky Bone that essentially allows you to re-roll all 1s. I love re-rolling, especially in dice games, and I wanted to make my Savage Big Boss more killy. But what other options did we have available to us? Well, we could add 1 to the save rolls for this hero, essentially making him a 3-up ward save. That's pretty cool, but I thought that's too much into defense. Giving him another 3-up, giving him 2 items, or the command trait and the Lucky Bone to just get down to the 3-up ward. It's doable. It's nice. It's a nice ability, but not quite worth my single item slot that I have. All right, so another one, we can do weapons deal double damage against monsters. Again, always with that's situational. We're running this list in a tournament specifically. We don't know what we're going to face. Another Bone Splitter list doesn't have any monsters in it. The Nighthaunts don't have any monsters. The Ironjaws don't have any monsters. The Stormcast, these lists don't. I mean, there's a lot of non-monsters. All right, +1 attack to your weapon. Classic, good. I like that. Yeah, sure, why not? A potion that heals you, and you got to roll some dice for it. Yeah, heal, more defense. I'd rather take the ward save, the 3-up ward save. And then a +1 to a bravery bubble, 10 inches. I don't know. I'm sold on my Lucky Bone. I like the reroll 1s. So we could also throw the magic item onto the Morgog Prophet. And we did not. We gave it to our Savage Big Boss to make him more killy. But let's go over the magic items that the Morgog Prophet does have available to him. So 1 item, they have 6 again. 1 item is you cast a spell, and when you roll doubles to cast, so on 2 dice, if there are a double, you can cast again. That's really nice, but my Morgog Prophet already has 2 spells, which we'll get to, so I'm okay with that. We have a magic item that can give my Shaman +1 attack. Woo! A wizard that has more attacks. That's okay, just moving on. We have a +1 to casting for each monster within 24 inches. Oh my gosh. Noticing a pattern with these monsters yet? Again, cute but situational, because what if we're not facing any monsters? And yeah, etc., etc. There's an additional spell magic item that gives you an additional spell. We will go through the spell list because I think that's got to be done for a good review. And that sounds awesome. I like that ability. An additional spell, I would like more options to spells. And that would combo well with our, whenever you double cast, or whenever you roll a doubles to cast, you can get a new spell. But unfortunately, you always have to generate the other spell randomly, which completely takes away. I mean, I want the spell that I want. I don't want to have to randomly generate, especially for a magic item. I get 1 magic item slot. You get another magic item for each battalion that you run, but I'm not running any battalions, so I get one magic item slot, and that's not going to make it. Alright, there's a mass that allows you to suicide your wizard. Cute, does some damage, but eventually your wizard's going to die at the end of it, so I don't know. And then there's a 24-inch unbind ability, and you also get +1 to unbind spells. I like that. I like that a lot. That's really cool. 24 inches allows you to dispel, kind of control more of the magic phase, get a little bonus to that. I would consider running that for sure. 24-inch unbind ability and then +1 to unbinding. But again, only one magic item. So now that we've gone through the magic items and why our Savage Big Boss has the luck bone, let's move on to our Morgog Prophet. Jumping right into the Morgog Prophet. This sorcerer is fantastic. Coming in with 6 wounds, he's going to have his 6-up ward save. Not terrible in combat, although you're not really trying to put him into combat. This nice little bonus ability, I'll take it. Subtract 1 from any hit rolls when he's in combat. As a sorcerer, he's pretty fantastic, able to cast 2 different spells in each of their hero phase and unbind 2 different spells. And of course, he has access to the spell list, which we'll go over in just a minute, and on why we selected ours, the spell that we did select. But his signature spell is also fantastic in the sense that it is great against hordes. And it's always good to have this on your tool belt, on your Batman tool belt. So it's roll a dice for each model and the unit visible, and then suffers a mortal wound on a roll of a 6. Okay, I'll take it, but it's each model that is visible, not within the range. Each model that is visible. And then, of course, he has a command ability that we are not using because we are running the other guy, but our command ability would be that a unit within 15 inches can immediately pile in and attack as if it is their combat phase. So you can allow additional combats. And I'm not going to go into some of those units because I'm not running them in this list, but there are units, the Boy pile in at the end of their combat phase. There's abilities to get them to pile in during the hero phase, and then this command ability, I can see a unit piling in 4, potentially even 5 times in one turn, just getting all of their attacks. It's pretty crazy combos that they're opening up with this Bone Splitter book. We're not going to take this command ability because we are using the other guy's command ability, but I see a wizard with a command ability is pretty awesome in general, and makes him, coming in again at 140 points, makes him a star in my book. And we're going to run one of them. Let's go over his spells. So again, a nice big list of spells that you can kind of see there. That's also unique and coming out in more and more books. I love to see these spells. Magic is one of my favorite parts of Warhammer in general. So the spell I picked is the Brutal Beast Spirit spell, which essentially is going to give you +1 to hit, is the important part. I think it also gives you +1 to run and charge movements. But what is important is it can be +1 to hit. It's just a buff spell. Good buffs and debuffs are fantastic. Utilize always. What else do we have access to? A couple spells that are Arcane Bolt esque. They deal direct damage. So a few direct damage spells. Spell called Hand of Gork, which I absolutely loved in earlier editions. It's a movement spell. I think we would all agree that movement is one of the most powerful abilities in the game, and being able to control. I mean, you just need to get your guys where they need to go, right? If you don't have guys where they need to be, you're in trouble. So Hand of Gork, let's have Gork pick them up and move them around a little bit. There's a nice debuff spell that forces the enemy to re-roll 6s when they're targeting one of your units. Another direct damage spell, and a fantastic debuff spell dealing damage as well as having their movement, run, and charge. I thought about taking this one since I am running a shooting list, but we ended up not going with it. But great spell, does damage and makes them slower. What's better than movement? Messing with your opponent's movement. All right, back to our list. We saw the Savage Orc Big Boss and our Morgog Prophet and their items and why they have the items they do. And as you saw, we have choices, which are fantastic. These books are coming out with more and more choices. All of them seem to be okay. At least appreciate the options. And the rest of the list. So we're running 40 Savage Orc Arrow Boys. Why and why? Well, let's talk about that. Savage Orc Arrow Boys. Well, to start off with, they got an additional wound. We are now up to 2 wounds on these guys instead of just the starting 1, which is fantastic. These guys come in at 10 points a model, so you're paying 5 points a wound. And if you look at my list all day, I'm paying about 7 points a wound, which is cheap. And what? 2 attacks with their bows. Can that really be a thing? Hits on 5s, but oh my gosh, I don't even care. If you give me 2 attacks on some bow shots, I will take it. I am very excited about that. So, a couple other things. Normal, you can add 2 to the charge roll. Something about the hero and 2 to the bravery. Okay, cool. Standard bearers and skull thumpers. Here's another interesting part. Lots of arrows. You can make 1 extra attack with each of their bows that the unit has 20 or more. And then, of course, the thing that we just shot over here is you have a -1 to run against monsters, which is, I'll take it, just additional. But this is really what it's all about right here. It's all about this 1 additional extra attack if the unit has 20 or more. So nice. Do you guys see it? Do you guys see what I'm doing now? If not, let's talk through it. Okay, so again, for the kits, I chose the Arrow Boys. I was incredibly turned on by the 2 shots. I don't care that you have to hit on 5s and 2 wounds for bows. At 10 points a model, getting 2 shots for bow shots, I was like, can't be true. The other 2 are our Savage Orcs. Right there, just normal. And then our Savage Orc Moor Boys down there. They're the 2 hand weapons. Savage Orc Moor Boys are a bit more killy with 2 hand weapons. And then the Savage Orcs, normally, their big thing is their battle line. So they can play as your core for other destruction armies. I anticipate running some Iron Jaws or some regular Orcs and Grooks or whatever we call them these days, with these as battle line. Again, 5 points a wound, 10 points a model, some cheap battle line that's 300 points total if you need to fill your 3 battle line requirements in a 2,000 point game. With Bonesplitterz, they do a fantastic job at that. But okay, for this point, I'm going with Arrow Boys. Now let's talk about this. My Savage Orc Big Boss, 6s to hit generate extra attack. So you throw your command ability onto this big unit of 30 Savage Orc Arrow Boys. Now we're going to do some Fury Hammer here. They each have 3 attacks, which means they're going to shoot 90 times. Oh, one more thing. Our Morgog Prophet is going to cast the Brutal Beast Spirit, the +1 to run, charge, and hit, onto our unit of 30 Savage Orc Arrow Boys. Okay, back to our Fury Hammer. So now we're not hitting on 5s anymore. We're hitting on 4s. We have 30 guys, 3 attacks each, 90 shots. That means 45 are going to get through the first, 45 are going to hit. Of those 45, now 5s and 6s generate extra attacks because they have +1 to hit, and our Savage Orc Big Boss's command ability allows them on rolls of 6 to regenerate new attacks. But now we have a +1 to hit, so that's going to be 5s. So a third of those 90 attacks are going to generate additional attacks. So we're going to have 30 additional attacks, again, hitting at 4s, meaning 15 are going to go through. 15 of our extra generated attacks plus 45 of our original attacks, we're going to have 60 attacks go through. Now we're wounding on 4s, as we just saw, so 30 of those shots are going to go through. So we're going to be putting 30 armor saves onto a unit within 18 inches, that is this list. That is what I'm trying to work on. That is what I'm trying to work out. The 2,000 point list version of this takes it a step bigger. I'm going to be running a unit of 40 instead of 30. And I'm going to be running the Cunning Rook battalion. That is this battalion right here, which essentially allows you a unit from this battalion. The unit you pick can move as if it was the movement phase, shoot as if it was the shooting phase, or combat as if it was the combat phase. Now again, always relevant because movement is very powerful even if nothing else is in range. But it allows you to shoot as if in your shooting phase. So we're going to have the same combo now with a bigger unit of 40 that is allowed to shoot twice. Once in the combat, or once in the shooting phase and once in the hero phase. That is my plan of action. I'm pretty excited about this list. And to finish up, we'll talk about the Savage Boar Boys. They have 3 wounds apiece, good movement. I'm not going to show you the thing. This video is dragging on a little bit longer. Their biggest thing is they have hit and run, which allows them to charge the same turn they flee. I know several other units in AOS might have that, including Clan Rats come to mind, the Skaven Clan Rats. Just kind of filler to bounce around, wanted to see how they play. For now, that will do it. This video is already long enough. We'll come back and do a full Battletome review. I mean, I touched on all the magic items and spells already. I think the big things are the few units that we didn't, well, the few units that are not run in this list, and then of course all of our battalions that we can potentially run. Maybe I'll do a separate video on just battalions. And thank you for watching all the way through. Don't forget to check out the website, infinitedicegaming.com, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Till next time, may the dice always be in your favor.